Hello, hello. It is Sarah Divinely You. Thank you so much for returning to my channel. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos and learning from them and all of that. We are more than halfway between the two eclipses for this time of year. We had the Aries eclipse on the 19th, and now we are building up to the Scorpio lunar eclipse on the 5th of May. And this will be this is like the closing eclipse before the nodes shift in July. They shift on July 17th to Aries and Libra. And so this is the last of that. So Scorpio is transformation. It's intense emotions. It's a water sign. And so we are definitely going to feel that. In addition to that, we have other transits we'll get to in a second, but we have like this purging energy, like a lot of our core wounds, like our really deep inner child wounds are really coming up. I know I am definitely feeling it. I'm sure many of you are feeling it. As we get closer to this lunar eclipse. And I think it's important, a couple of things are important, is to have your spiritual hygiene about you, make sure that you get grounded, ensure that you are taking care of your physical needs, your emotional needs, your mental, all of those things, staying connected to the earth. I think that it can be really easy to get knocked off of our, I don't want to say our positivity or our self-worth or those sorts of things. So I don't want to get to like toxic positivity. I think it's important to acknowledge that these things are coming up, but I think it can also be very, very possible to easily be knocked off of our horse, right? Be knocked off of our game, as it were. As we build up to this eclipse, it's a lot of intense energy, a lot of old patterns and woundings are cropping up. And I think it's really possible to get sort of off kilter throughout all of this. So definitely if you are working with a coach or a counselor, a therapist, spirit guide, astrologer, definitely be reaching out to get that support where and when you need it. Okay. So, we are now in level 5 of 2003. So welcome to level 5. Again, between eclipses, the energies are very heavy and very intense. Again, I think it's very important to point out just how vulnerable many of us can be to being knocked out of our knocked off of our kilters. I've definitely felt like I've been knocked on my ass the last couple of days. So so there's overwhelming amounts of purging happening. Your core wounds are coming up, but they're coming up to be purged, to be managed, to, you're being prepared for the next thing. Jupiter is coming into Taurus mid-May, and Pluto is going to go back into Capricorn in mid-June, and then the nodes are going to shift mid-July. So we've got a lot of change happening during this entire year. And so, I mean, a lot of things are coming up to be acknowledged, be made aware of, and to clear, or at least be aware that they exist so that you can manage them in the future as they come up, right? When our woundings, our core wounds come up, they're going to come up repeatedly. There's no not healing. There's no getting past the healing process. It's a lifetime thing. While retrogrades are happening, we still do have quite a bit of forward momentum. Again, Jupiter, Venus is still moving forward, those sorts of things. And then I wanted to talk about the houses in your birth chart a little bit too. And of course, if you are curious about the houses in your birth chart, and what your houses are about in your birth chart, you can always book a reading with me. The link is in the description box below. So let's talk about the transits this week. We do have lots of ongoing transits, including Pluto squaring the nodes. And then I think Mars is coming out of its trine, something was squaring something. Maybe it was Venus. Now I can't remember. That's awful. Anyway, on the first midday, we do have Pluto go retrograde through October 11th, and he will enter Capricorn, re-enter Capricorn on June 11th. And of course, he is continuing to square the nodes. So that is happening. And that's happening because Pluto's retrograde and the nodes move counterclockwise through the zodiac. And so they're going to be at the 0 and 29, the 0 of Taurus and Scorpio, and then the 29 of Aries, Libra. So it's going to be a square off, a standoff between them, between Pluto and the nodes for the next 5 months. And then, of course, in the afternoon, 6:30 p.m. Central Time on the 5th, Mercury will make its cazimi to the sun. So it means that Mercury in retrograde is going to conjunct the sun. This is a really cool opportunity where Mercury is the modern ruler, or the traditional ruler of astrology. And so when it meets with the sun, we sort of get light codes, we get messages, we get downloads. So if you notice tomorrow that you get like messages in your head and you're like, where the hell did that even come from? Like, take a note, write it down, journal about it. Take a note and see where it goes, because sometimes we get messages or sudden intuitive hits from this Mercury cazimi, this Mercury conjunct the sun. This is happening in Taurus, where we currently have a lot of energy with Uranus. Jupiter's going to be moving in there. Of course, we still have the North Node in there, and that kind of thing. And Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is all about money things, self-worth, value, all of those things. So who knows? I mean, I think with a lot of this Taurus energy we've got going, we will definitely see, if we're not already seeing, some changes in our money systems, whether it's our individual money systems or the global money systems. On the 4th at 12:35, Venus is going to square Neptune. Okay, anytime something's like squaring Neptune, especially Neptune being currently in its home sign of Pisces, you're going to have some like illusions. And so something could look like a false image, or it could just be like an opportunity to get clarity around something, whether it's a relationship or, your own value, your own worth, that kind of thing. But that happening within like 24 hours of, on the 5th, I think this is cool that in my time zone, the lunar eclipse is happening at 1, 2, 3, 4, because like chronologicals and palindromes are my favorite numbers. Lunar eclipse is at 14 Scorpio. Again, this is where you would want to know the degree, what house it's in your chart. Of course, if you have Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius in your chart and have anything at 14 of those signs, you're going to probably feel this a lot more than any other sign. Scorpio, especially if you've got anything around 14, give or take a couple of degrees, you'll probably feel this more than any other sign. But of course, if you have anything at 14 degrees, or whatever you have at 14 Scorpio in your chart, whatever house it's in, and you might see the effect of this lunar eclipse, bringing up something to be cleansed or purged of, from that theme of whatever house Scorpio is in your chart. You don't have to have planets in. This is why I want to talk about houses, because you don't have to have planets in Scorpio to be affected by this house, because we all have all 12 zodiac signs in our charts. On the 7th, we have Venus entering Cancer. Venus is actually going to start to slow down because she will go retrograde in Leo. So not yet. I believe it's in mid-July. I want to say it's the 21st of July that Venus will go retrograde in Leo, but she is going to start to slow down in Cancer. However, she does enjoy being in Cancer. They kind of, I feel like they kind of complement each other, because, Cancer is maternal and nurturing and emotional, and Venus is, self-worth and money and value and those sorts of things. So I feel like that could be a good complement of energy. And then of course the moon's going to start in Virgo. I feel like I had a very long stretch in Virgo this weekend, and it will make its way to Sagittarius by the end of the week. And of course you can watch my I've been doing reels for the moon cycles. They're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. And I give you kind of a supportive aroma or essential oil to work with through the moon transits. And I've been having kind of a lot of fun doing that. I do feel like I want to bring the tarot back though. So if you've got an opinion and you would love to see the tarot come back, that may be something that might happen. I was looking through my numbers the other day and I'm like, I kind of miss doing the tarot. So that may come back. All right, I wanted to put in this quote. This is I don't know if per se it's a quote or just something that my friend says all the time. Um, but nothing inauthentic stands the test of time. And I think that this is important because as we have Pluto retrograde, um, things that are not authentic, things that are not truth, things that are bullshit are being revealed. And this could be anything from, it depends on how you see the world, right? Like I have a tendency to think very unconventionally. It's not something that I talk about. I mean, I guess astrology is unconventional outside of the astrology community, but I tend to do a lot of like way out there research, kind of always have. And so, but maybe you're not there. Maybe you're somebody who is, you're not doing outlandish research, but you're totally into what's going on in the current events of the world. And so there may be some truths coming out in the current events of the world. Or maybe it's some truths about your relationship or your job or something that you just cannot align with, but nothing inauthentic stands the test of time. So if you're ever wondering like how or why something collapsed, it's because something about it was not authentic. Something about it wasn't, in alignment or something, wasn't the truth of what was being presented, right? And there's a lot of things I could say here that I don't really want to say, but I'll just say most orgs are not what you think they are, okay? So when you think you're donating to something, it may not be, but I mean, that's for you to do your research on and know when and how you're donating. I'll put it this way, I'm not somebody who donates money. I'll donate my time before I'll donate money. So I volunteer and I do those sorts of things. And I love helping people and creating community and creating those relationships. But I mean, something could be revealed, like truthfully it could be revealed. But the point is that nothing inauthentic. So if you're doing a business and it doesn't align with you, you don't love it, you're not passionate about it, but you're like, this is a way to make money, it's still not going to stand the test of time because you're not putting your heart, soul, love, your compassion, your sacral chakra. We talk sometimes in the entrepreneurial world, we talk about, your business giving you an orgasm or turning you on or, whatever. And if it's not doing that, if it doesn't make you feel orgasmic, if it doesn't like light you up and make you want to like, then it's not, it's nothing inauthentic will stand the test of time, right? If there's a hidden falseness about what is going on in whatever the situation, whether it's your own personal circumstance or something in the world around you, if it's inauthentic, it will not stand the test of time. Now, that doesn't mean that it'll end in 6 months. Some things could take years to unravel. But we are in a time, 2023 and beyond, of accelerated reveals with Pluto and Aquarius, because Aquarius just demands authenticity, it demands uniqueness. And so this adds a layer to that, that being the idea of nothing inauthentic stands the test of time. I almost put a Gandhi quote in here of be the change you wish to see in the world. I think that a lot of us get stuck in the victim mode of hoping that this thing or that thing is going to happen and reveal all the truth about something. And what if that never happens? Are you still going to, sit and stew in that and hope that this thing's going to change so you can change your life? That's, I was into all that too. And I, wanted it all to come crashing down. But the reality is that I don't want to put my life on hold for it either. I don't want to sit around waiting for that to happen when there's something that I could take action on within my own, not only my work, but in my personal life or in my hobbies or in my own community. things like that. And I think we get stuck in this, if you want change to happen, you have to create it. We co-create our universe, and this is the world at which we live in. It is a reflection of what we believe. And so, waiting around for the big thing to collapse or the big bang to happen, be the change, be what you want the world to look like for you. So get off my soapbox now, move on. All right, things to do. I talked about a lot of this already, but your spiritual hygiene, journaling, meditating, connecting to the earth, sage, smudging, I would say sound healing, getting a massage, doing earthly things, connecting to the earth. If you're on my Instagram, I have been coming on my lives pretty dirty in my garage because I've been sanding down some furniture and getting ready to repaint that. By the way, blind people and spray paint. I had to call in for backup. I'm still waiting for the backup. But I tried, but it's just not something that a blind person should probably be doing. But I mean, just having that project and getting outside and being in the garage and all of the things. And, so if you can find an outdoor project, maybe this is the year you plant a garden if you haven't before, or at least go play in some dirt, or play in some rocks, or touch some dirt, touch some rocks. Sage smudging. We are in a Mercury retrograde in between these eclipses. And so, cleansing your, as things are coming up and out, the detox is pretty wild right now. Saging and cleansing that space. Journal, write everything that's coming up and out. Meditation to give your soul and your body a chance to reconnect. Remember, you are 7 energy centers from your root chakra to your crown chakra, your heart being in the middle, and connecting all of those energy centers together to support the process which is occurring for us right now. And so what else we got here? Allow what's coming up and out to come up and out. We do have core wounds, creating that dialogue with your inner child. I did do a video on that on my YouTube. You can check that out. It's called Embracing Negative Thoughts. And so if you are somebody who's always trying to kick your negative thoughts to the curb, I highly recommend that you go watch that video to learn a way that you can work with your inner dialogue, or work with your inner child to create inner dialogue to process through negative thoughts. And then, of course, see my moon videos. You will get an aromatherapy and some other supportive information on that. Okay, so let's talk about the houses in astrology really quick. I try not to make these videos too long and then I get off on my tangent, so go figure. Okay, so we each have all 12 zodiac signs in our chart because, right, the chart is presented in a circle, right? Your astrology chart is presented in a circle. So you have all 12 zodiac signs in your chart. So just like I said with that Scorpio lunar eclipse at 14 Scorpio, wherever Scorpio is, whatever house it is the theme at which that might affect your life, right? So I know I used some examples down here, but let's see. Let me go look at them so I can actually read what I took the time to write. So the houses are themed by the zodiac sign. So the first house is Aries, I am. Second house is Taurus, I have, and so on and so forth. So if you have your sun in Leo in the 6th house, it's got a Virgo theme to it. So it's grounding, it's earthy, it's routines, it's health, it's that sort of thing. And so if your Leo sun is in the 6th house, then you will, your heart is around Virgo energy and routines and things like that. And so they can actually be pretty rigid. I'll be honest. And not that that's a bad thing, because some of us who are, flaky airheads really need a Virgo. I actually really don't like Virgo, only because Virgos force me to ground. And I don't always like to do that. So, but I do love Virgos. Okay, and then so if you have your moon in Scorpio in the 3rd house, you'll have your moon will have like a Gemini theme. So your mental state, your Gemini is Mercury, right? So communication, mental, you like to learn, all of those things, and you're Scorpionic with the Scorpio moon. So you kind of have some like empathic, psychic capability along with that learning. So you may be learning something very broad, something very spiritual, something that creates maybe like sound healing, or something like that. So if you've got a Scorpio moon in the third house, that would be your situation. And then okay, so then of course, this is important for outer planets. So Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and the asteroid Chiron. I talked about Chiron in that embracing negative thoughts video. I talked about Chiron in there with these planets, because these planets and asteroid spend a long amount of time in a sign. So like, for example, Saturn's in Pisces right now, and it'll be there for the next 3 years. And so that doesn't really clue us in, or even take Pluto. Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. And so Pluto in Aquarius is one thing, but Pluto in Aquarius in the, trying to think of a good house to put it in that's not Aquarius. In the 8th house, that would be like merging, and so you'd have transformation around merging, maybe it's a relationship, a marriage, or something like that. You'd have, or transformation, or that sort of thing, right? Chiron, if you have Chiron in your 9th house, for example, you may have childhood wounding around a religious guru, spirituality, or being, not want, being maybe stifled for wanting to learn something outside of the quote unquote religious philosophy box. That sort of thing. And then of course, any of these other ones, Uranus in the 1st house, could be, Uranus is Aquarius, so it's ruled by the 11th sign. But if you've got it in your 1st house, then you bring that Uranus dynamic to how you present yourself, right? So when we look at when astrologers look at your chart, we're looking at your houses and where these planets land in your houses. And so if this is something that interests you and you want to know what houses your planets lie in, of course, we can do this with the inner planet, the personal planets as well, Mercury, Mars, Venus. But we typically for sure look at the houses with the outer planets. It gives us more of a perspective, more of an idea of what you're dealing with. And so there's that. So I hope that was helpful. And if you'd like to book with me, my link is below if you want to get a reading with me, and me bring all the rest of the toolbox that I have to share. So, all right. So that's what I have for you for the 1st through the 7th of May. Again, welcome to level 5 of 2023. We're not quite halfway there yet. I'm going to post this video. It is coming out on Sunday, the 30th of April. And my intention is to get your full moon lunar eclipse and the 3rd quarter square moon in Aquarius up by Tuesday on YouTube. You can always check me out on Instagram. I'm there every day, whether I'm in nice looking clothes or I'm dirty in my garage because I've been sanding all day, but I liked doing the outside videos. So there's that. But you can check me out on there as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you can check the links below for to book a reading or to listen to my guest appearance on the Hearts Unleashed podcast, where I talked about breaking up with your victimhood. And so, yeah, all of that is there. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.